Hello. All right.
God has the properties that he has? For that particular question, we would say quite simply that maybe not. Maybe it's not a brute fact, but in as far as what has been revealed to us so far, yeah. And we don't believe that there's going to be any sort of new divine revelation, right? So, like, we would just say we don't have that answer until
He's got a guy up on stage right now. I'm trying to get brought up on stage.
From the ancient Greek writers, to be like God, to become like God. The entire point is answering that question. Like, the entire point of, like, going to heaven, so to speak, is to get to know God and to answer these questions and to participate deeper and deeper in the life of God. Because, like, again,
should be able to share this
continually be learning about Him
if
as far as He's willing to reveal to us.
do this right.
That's it. So that means we can continually are growing and learning, even in the age to come, from the Christian view. Sure. Yeah. Briefly, I don't want to get too deep into it because I know it kind of. No, that makes sense. So I think, like, probably one thing to say then, one consideration that pops out to me is that it seems like the atheists then could make, like, a very similar move where they say, listen, maybe I can't account for why this water bottle looks blue, or why like the laws of logic work this way, but I don't.
Let's see if I can screen share that now that I've got it hooked in.
But I guess I struggle to see what the symmetry breaker would be there for you saying, like, you can't account for this aspect of God, which of course is totally fine. I mean, I would never expect somebody to be able to explain how God does this stuff, but I think it's more of like a question of, like,
like how high are we setting the bar? Like,
Yeah.
like
Well,
surely the bar
you're asking about God's
for the
ontology.
atheist, but you know, like, yep, go for it.
If you're asking for like God's ontology, or like what God is, what is undergirding the essence of God, like ultimately that's obviously unknowable. I would be willing to bet from all theistic worldviews, even maybe like a Platonic worldview, like what exactly are the Platonic forms. So I don't think it's a unique problem. Again, but like if I were to say like, well, how do you know that logic is consistent? And I can't answer that. Well, appeals a mystery. I would say yes, that's unreasonable to do so. So in the case of the atheist, I would just say they're not the same. I guess it's a false dichotomy because, like a water bottle, I know you just gave a great example, but that's a created thing that's very easy to break down logically with enough time and scrutiny, whereas the undergirding of God's ontology or the essence of God is a rather large order, you know?
Yeah, I get that. But, and I mean, like, I'm a big proponent of like answering like the tag on its own like merits, like answering the questions that the person who advocates for the transcendental argument is asking. So I mean, I have no problem giving like answers to all of like the like how do we ground logic stuff in the atheist worldview. But okay, given like the answer that you just gave, I'm not sure why the Christian worldview would be better, because it seems like you're accepting. Maybe I didn't understand your answer, but it seems like you're accepting, like, I don't know is an acceptable answer sometimes. So if the atheist just said, like, I don't know where logic comes from, and I'm not really sure what grounds epistemology, I'm not really sure what the problem with that would be.
Yeah, again, I would say that as long as they're willing to admit that and then not assume that they're...
Hello? You cut out again.
Spam call. Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Spam call. I'm on my personal phone right now looking at you. Anyways, I lost my train of thought. What I was going to say?
Yep, go for it.
Well, so what? Maybe so that we could kind of talk about it specifically. Are you only referring to, like, we'll just say the highest level of ontology, talking about God's essence? Or are you saying things as simple as, well, how
I'm trying to get...
I don't know, logic work from a Christian worldview? Like,
I am asking like the high level question, like, why is God's essence this way as opposed to some other way? Like, why is God?
Yes.
Why is God, for example, like triune as opposed to being like quadroon? Or, I think that's a slur. Sorry, I apologize. I don't even know if that's a slur, but I apologize if it is. Holy shit. That's my bad, gang.
The second question I get answered.
Let me actually check on that.
Sorry. Let me mute myself.
Maybe it's because I don't have it plugged in. It's probably got to go the other way into one of the USBs. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get to where I can share.
Wow. That's totally my bad, gang. No, I was thinking about like the I was trying to express like the idea of like
pull him up
like
on
triune,
YouTube.
but for like the fourth one, and then damn, that's I promise it wasn't like a heated gamer moment or anything like that.
PewDiePie bridge moment.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's true. I guess they would be spelled differently, but yeah.
Yeah, you're good, brother. I mean, everyone makes mistakes, so it wasn't intentional.
Yep. Okay. Wait. But anyway, so I guess like, why is God 3 persons instead of like 5 persons?
Yeah, that's something I'm more familiar with. So, do you want like which?
I'd be curious. Like, what's the explanation?
Yeah. So, I suppose it's the classic answer of the one of the many. So, I won't go into the detail of why it necessarily has to be. The issue is that a fourth origin or a fourth hypostasis, and or 6 or something. Because they all collapse into the beginning, which is the sun. So therefore, the sun is the sun. Somehow, what differentiates the sun is the thermostatic property.
Yep. Okay. Wait. But anyway, so I guess like, why is God 3 persons instead of like 5 persons?
Yeah,
If I can get that
something
there.
I'm more. So, do you want like which do you want
Sure.
specifically five
I'd be
persons?
curious. Like, what's the
Alright.
explanation for that?
Yeah, so I suppose it's the classic
Better,
answer of
a
the
little
one of the
bit,
many.
maybe.
So I won't go into the detail of why it necessarily has
Calm
to
him
be
down just a bit.
Trinity, not monad, or not dyad. I'll just skip right to like a polytheism, which is like more than four. The issue is that
I am
because of
trying
the
to
mode of
get brought
origin,
up on the stage
basically a fourth origin or
on
a
here
fourth
right
hypostasis,
now.
a fourth person in the Trinity, or a fifth,
He
or a sixth, or a
said
seventh, or an
he
eighth,
wanted to debate.
because they all come from the monarchy of the Father, would either collapse into
have
begetting, which is
created
the
a
Son.
TikTok
So
to
therefore, the
debate
Son is no
him.
longer the Son, and it's just not how it works. Because what differentiates the Son is his hypostatic property, namely him being the only begotten Son of the Father, and also in the same sense for the Holy Spirit. If there was five, let's say 5 persons in the Trinity, and that's an oxymoron. If there's 5 persons in the new God, then in the same manner, it would have to fall into this category of being having the hypostatic property of the Holy Spirit, namely proceeding from the Father. So, like again, if you proceed from the Father, or if you are the only begotten Son of the Father, you are either the Son or the Holy Spirit, and there is only one of those hypostases. In other words, introducing more hypostases into the Trinity or more persons into the Trinity just kind of becomes arbitrary, and it kind of, again, definitionally defeats what God is.
So, one objection that comes to mind is that presumably you could have
There's actually
God,
a question
and then God
on here.
begets the Son, and then the Son begets the Son, and then you would have, and then like of course like the Holy Spirit comes forth, and then you would have distinct hypostases where the Father would be begetter but not begotten.
There's only 2
the Son would be both begotten
by
and
God.
begetter, and then His Son would be
And
like
they have
only
different
begotten but not a begetter, and then like the Holy Spirit would have like
XY.
unique like Holy Spirit properties. But maybe
Yeah, can I
better,
briefly
like-
address that?
yeah, go for it.
In, like,
Actually,
2
yeah.
words. So we would say that again, the let's just say power, for lack of a better term, the power, superhero power, the power of begetting or proceeding is unique to the Father. In other words, only the Father can beget or cause the Spirit to proceed. Like the Son can't. We call it spiration. Again, I'm trying to stay away from theological terms because it's annoying for everybody. Like nothing can spirate from the Father other than the one Son or the
I
one Holy
had
Spirit.
another one on there.
And
where
nothing
somebody
can
asked me
conspire
what?
from either the Son or the Holy Spirit because of their mode of existence. In other words, because they're not the Father.
Well, I guess I'm confused. Wait, so I know you're saying that only the Father has the power to beget, but I guess like why?
Because that's proper to his hypostasis. In other words, that's what makes him him. And this is where this is where I would bottom out and say this is divine revelation at this point, right? But I could answer everything below that, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm not trying to push the issue,
okay.
but I feel like you could characterize his hypostasis as like he doesn't derive from another.
Right. Yeah, he's uncaused.
They have me as
Yeah,
a picture
but then you could
potato
have
on here.
his Son,
For
who is
my,
himself a begetter, who would have a unique hypostasis, and then he has a Son who has no son after him, and then you have like the Holy Spirit who flows from the nature, and then it seems like there's a unique identifying trait to all of them.
There's only 424 people
Right.
watching.
Again, the issue isn't the traits that identify them, and as far as them being traits in general, it's them being the specific traits that have been divinely revealed to us, namely the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Oh, sure. But then this does seem to get into the question that I'm asking, which is, like it seems like on your view there are going to be things that, like things about the nature of God that you can't explain. Like you can't explain why it's this way as opposed to some other way, which is totally fine. Like
100%.
I don't take any issue with that. I don't think that the Christian is on the hook for explaining that sort of thing. But then it just seems like the atheist shouldn't be either for explaining.
That's a great point, Ian. And I suppose, can you give me something that's analogous to the unknowable divine essence let's stick with the empiricist view.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Can you give me any examples?
I wouldn't defend empiricism. Me personally, I would
Either
never
way.
defend that.
No, I'm saying hypothetically, for the sake of argument, can you give me an example of this? Because I understand you're saying like this in a rhetorical sense, but I think that's all it has is rhetorical power. Again, not trying to be disrespectful.
No, that's
but
really fine.
I don't
So,
think there's an actual example of this.
so okay, let's say, so you're saying that that
Mom,
it's like above you, or that like your view, you like, I'm sorry, not even just your view, but like you personally can't account for why it's 3 gods as opposed to like 4 gods. So
Explain logic. Well, I'm saying strictly the divine essence. I can't
Yes.
explain anything that has to do with the divine essence.
yes,
The 3
yes.
gods is to do with the hypostasis, not to do with the divine essence.
Or, but even
Strictly in a
like
strict
why these
cosmological
are the
sense.
3 hypostases as opposed to like some other like
The 3
configuration of them, you know?
Godhead, the triune
Meaning,
God,
like instead of the Father, the Son,
is
Holy Spirit, would be
brought
like
up
I don't know.
in
What's another
Proverbs
example
30,
that you can give?
3,
Like the one I
You don't
gave,
have
like
to.
the
4,
Father,
where
the
it talks
Son, and the
about
grandson, and the Holy Spirit.
4, where it talks about
I suppose again because of it being contradictory to what they
animals.
are. Like the
I'm butchering
hypostasis
it. but Sam
actually.
Shamoon
In other words,
just
it would
did a video
defy
on this.
realism that we believe that
I can
these
pull it up
have
right
actual
now.
categorical ontological distinctions that aren't
In fact,
arbitrary. So we can't just make it arbitrary.
I
We can't just
will.
make it arbitrary, even in a hypothetical.
Well, I'm not really sure why mine would be more arbitrary than yours.
Because what has been revealed to us, and as far as what differentiates their hypostases, is something that is necessarily by definition of what they are or who they are
Neither learn wisdom
going to be
nor
the
have
case.
the knowledge
In other
of the
words,
holy.
again, like with God, it's
Sure, the
necessarily
Son said.
true that God.
I'm gonna mute him for just a second. 3 through 5, I think it is. I neither learned wisdom nor have the knowledge of the holy. Who hath ascended up into heaven, or descended? Who hath gathered the wind in his fist? Who hath bound in the waters in a garment? Who hath established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell? Talking about Jesus in the Old Testament, and the spirits are the Holy Spirit. So the divine essence of God
And revelation from 4 gods.
Yeah, I would say that, like I said earlier, and let me put it in more strict terminology.
there we go.
The reductio, so to
Hopefully
speak,
that's
of
the
this would be
best
that a fourth,
of both worlds.
but like a fourth or a fifth or a sixth
trying to
divine
get
person
this guy to
would
bring me
necessitate
up on
another
stage.
mode of origin, meaning a mode of existence, right? But that mode, in order for it to be Christianity, would also not be able to deny the Father's monarchy, nor duplicate the Son or the Spirit. So in other words, like the idea of another begetting, or like of a son and a grandson in this instance, would destroy
Okay.
the monarchy of the
I
Father,
think I
and
may
therefore
figure
wouldn't
it
be
out. I don't
Christianity.
know how to do it.
Why would it
that's why
destroy
it
the
would-
monarchy of the Father?
Because again, like we said earlier, forgive me if I didn't say it properly, the Father is the only one who possesses the capability of begetting. In other words, the Son cannot beget.
Okay.
Right.
But like, what explains that fact? Couldn't the monarchy be defined? Couldn't the hypostases be defined as like the Father is like uncaused, and then everything else lacks that? But then also, you know, the Son is both uncaused and a causer. Or no, the Son is caused and also a causer, and then the grandson is like caused but not a causer.
But not a causer, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, they're all distinct in that sense. No, I get what you're saying. Again, I would say that maybe I don't have a sufficient way to answer this in a way. I instinctually know there's an issue. I'm just incapable of properly articulating it.
That's totally
figure-
fine. No. It's you don't feel. I think that especially when you get like deep into like Trinity stuff, it can be like tough to make sense of it. Or especially like I don't
Again,
think that it's any like I don't think it's any issue for the Christian worldview that they can't explain like why God has this nature as opposed to another one. But in terms of like the
and
tag,
as far as the
go for it.
nature, and as far as the nature, I can't explain. But like again, like for example, a monad would make, let's say, multiplicity impossible. A dyad would make let's say love impossible, for an example. And you can just go down the list, and 4 or more would just basically break the definitionally what the Father is. And that's the main issue, is that if you're taking Christianity and you're at least granting us the Father because we understand that that's the one God, then it would necessarily have to fall into a Trinity because of the impossibility of it being either a monad or a dyad, which I can explain in depth if you want, or like a 4 or more.
I guess I'm still unclear as to why there's. I'm not entirely clear as to why there
Like, for
couldn't
example,
be 4.
Like specifically for 4, again, because if there's any other mode of begetting or if there's any other mode of existence, then it would break the monarchy of the Father. If it breaks the monarchy of the Father, then it is not the Christian God. So necessarily it would have to come about in this way.
So I guess like the place where this answer feels like not very informative is that you're saying. So my question is, why is the setup this way? Like, why is the monarchy? Maybe I'd say like, why are the hypostases defined this way as opposed to some other way? And you're saying that if it was like some other way, then that would be like a different way. I feel so bad. I feel like I'm like horribly like mischaracterizing it, but that's like truly the only way that I can characterize your answer is that it feels like you're saying like it can't be different because then it would be like a different thing.
No, I'm saying that granting at least the definition of God, it is impossible. I keep getting phone calls. I apologize.
That's okay.
I have to go because I keep getting my phone blown up. However, I do want to talk another time if possible. But briefly here, let's see if I have a phone call in 2 seconds.
Yep, go for it.
So, my goodness, do you remember where I was?
Okay, so I'm really trying to engage in like the best faith, give like a good reconstruction of what you're telling me.
Yes.
And it feels like what you're telling me is that. So my question is, why are the hypostases this way as opposed to some other arrangement? And you're telling me that the Father's hypostasis is this way, which necessitates the hypostases of the other ones. But in the answer that you're giving, it seems like you're kind of, gosh, it feels like the question is getting begged, because I'm kind of inquiring as to like, well, why is why is the Father's hypostasis this way as opposed to like some other way?
I don't even know what that word means. Hypostasis.
I guess I don't really have a clean answer for this. My last attempt at this before I do actually have to go in.
That's totally fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, but it was a great conversation.
Yeah, if I could really quick. So I apologize. So what I would say briefly is that if you at least grant us the definition of God and what we mean by that, as a proper internal critique would do, then it would necessitate the one God, which is the Father. Mm-hmm. If it necessitates the one God, which is the Father, then it also necessitates that the Father's hypostasis is unique from the other 2 people in the Trinity, meaning that it can't be any other way. You know what? I suppose scratch all that because I want to give you a proper answer. So I'm gonna think about this and maybe come back another time. Sure. However, I suppose that's the length of my knowledge.
Can you drop a comment so I can give you a follow so I can see you in the future?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I just started. I actually I'm a blue collar guy, but I'm going back to college. Hopefully to become a priest in the Orthodox Church. But
hey, congratulations! That's great. So. That's so cool. I appreciate it.
Have a great day, Ian.
Yeah, you have a great day as well. Wow, we got nothing but like really nice chill guests. It's so fucked up that the YouTube stream like cut out. I think I have to leave the vertical stream up to make up for the fact that it cut out. This is so fucked up. Ian 2, thanks so much for the super chat. I am in fact the oldest living gamer, very, very old, older than Deconstruction Zone, but I get pop culture references. Gary Palmer, thanks so much for the super chat. God is real. God is life. God is truth. Gary Palmer, $20, Gary Palmer. Thanks so much for the $20. I don't know if this was intentional, but I do appreciate it. Holy shit. Big W for Gary Palmer. For God is real. I appreciate it. Eastles, thanks so much for the super chat. Words don't have meaning. Meaning is applied onto configurations of letter by memory, like agents project meaning. SARS, 1 minute type thoughts. Question, words don't have meaning. Meaning is applied into configurations of letters by memory. Well, I think what meaning is doing, I think what meaning does is that we have like some sort of like inner sense of what we mean. That there's like almost like a picture when you're
Since he's
expressing a
got
thought,
that
an
other guy
idea.
off,
There's like a picture in your head,
maybe I can get him to
and
get me to
words are like the vehicle to convey that picture.
come up.
I think that that's what meaning is like the little picture in your head that you're trying to convey with words. Can you explain Jesus skateboarding? No, that sounds fucking tubular. Holy shit. Anyway, love all of you. I'll see you all later. If you want to get started with philosophy, but you don't know where to start, we're doing a reading group in the Discord. It's discord.gg/what the fuck. This is fucking bullshit. Why the fuck are the checks taking so long? I'm supposed to be uploading a video, but it's like, I don't know if we can monetize this one. The fuck do you mean? Hold on. Let me see if I can't get through. The fuck you checking? Oh my gosh. The fucking Dickens, dude. This is fucking gibberish. Complete. No. I will. There's a workaround. There's an easy workaround. I just gotta stop being silly. I gotta stop being silly, and I have to take the easy workaround, which is Sir, I'm like, here's what I'm gonna do because I'm so okay. It takes 4 more minutes to upload, so I just have to keep you entertained for 4 more minutes. I'm just gonna re-upload it, slightly different titles, taking out the contentious word. Let me get. Let me get my link tree. Sorry that stream has been so the stream is like super choppy today. I have no idea what was going on. I apologize for that. I hope to give like a better streaming experience than somebody whose YouTube stream like craps out on itself. You know, it's kind of sad. It's kind of unfortunate. Okay. Okay. What could I do? You know what I can do? I can read to you. I'll read to you all. What should we read? I'll read everybody some chapters of the book that I'm reading, Time in the World, Everything and Then Some by Marcelo Fiocco. Maybe I'll read the section I was talking about earlier from the acknowledgments because it's heartfelt and beautiful. Oh, yep, there it is. I cold called Michael De La Rocca via email many years ago when I was a grad student at Santa Barbara. He responded with a graciousness and respect that at the time, sadly, I did not think I deserved. Since then, we have corresponded, exchanged work, spent time together. Michael is a bold and original thinker and a paradigm of professional excellence. I always get much out of engaging with him and his work because we have, I believe, the same interests and very similar philosophical temperaments and values. Nevertheless, a key disagreement about the scope of explanation sends us in opposite directions. Michael, perhaps more than any other person, enabled me to enhance this book by challenging me with penetrating questions and demands for clarification regarding its central claims and positions. He also played an essential role in its publication, strategizing with me and offering guidance and uplifting words. For all this, I'm indebted to him and will remain eternally grateful. But hey, if you want to get started with philosophy, but you don't know where to start, you should consider joining the Discord.